Welcome to the Be Magnetic podcast. I'm your host Tara, energetic strategist, psychic medium, and your guide to a life and business that feels like a full body fuck yes. If you're ready to move beyond success and step into true peace, pleasure, and prosperity, this podcast is for you. Get ready for unfiltered stories, mindset shifts, and real strategies that will empower you to live and lead with your heart. Together, we'll unlock your highest potential, expand deeply rooted abundance, and shift into soul-led success without sacrificing your authenticity, joy, peace, or freedom. So take a moment, settle in, feel the energy shift, and let's dive into the magic that awaits. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about the most potent asset in business you are not yet using. We're also going to talk about why connections are such a powerful tool for business and growth and soulful sales, the pitfalls to avoid when network marketing, and 5 powerful hacks to build deeper, more aligned relationships and grow your business with ease, flow, and soul, and why these insights have come up in my life and every reading that I've been doing for myself and got from, my mentors over the last few months. So as you have probably guessed, the most potent asset in business you are not yet using are connections. I have not made this a secret. And for those of you who follow me for a while and, follow me on socials as well, you know that making connections has been a big intention for me this year because I've realized that there's so much untapped potential within connections when it comes to business. And I know that it's probably a bit, more promoted now than it was a few years ago still. But I do feel like that more and more women get into actually using connections as their biggest business asset. But it's still very new and I still feel like there is a lot of potential, and I do want to talk a bit more about it because it did change my life so much. So I've done a lot of readings for myself over the last year probably, and I've also worked with mentors and gotten like different readings like Akashic reading and like stuff like that, and so many of those readings have always pinpointed to how important connections are for me. And even when I tap into my astrology, the way my planets and signs and everything is lined up, connection is such a big part of how I create success, and it's been feeling so aligned for me as well, which I think makes it such a powerful tool. And so I do want to make this available to you as well in case you are not yet tapping into connections, or in case maybe the way you've been making connections business wise has felt like icky a little bit, then I would love to change that for you in today's episode. So the reason why I do believe that connections are such a powerful and important aspect of business is because obviously, someone, and that's like no secret at all, like someone will be more likely to buy from you when they know you, when they actually connected with you, when they trust you, when they like you. That's no secret. That is what basically every business mentor out there tells you. And of course we can establish like, know, and trust through like posting online and like sharing about our lives and sharing what we move through and being very vulnerable and authentic and real and raw. But we can also, like, there goes nothing beyond sharing or like creating the know, like, trust by actually building connections. And I feel like that, especially in the online business world, connections have kind of suffered a little bit because we've been chasing the followers, the numbers, the metrics, and we've tried to like sell and like make all these things. And so the actual like real connections have suffered a little bit. And I do admit that I find it difficult sometimes to make real connections online. I feel like it's so much easier in real life. But I do believe it's possible online. I've made great friendships online as well, and that turned into awesome just like connections, not necessarily like clients or anything like that, but just people I really deeply value, which then lead to opportunities, whatever those might be. So I do feel like connections are very powerful because they allow us to sell less or more nuanced, right? We don't have to chase things. Like for me, connections have empowered me to receive opportunities without me even doing anything, right? Just because I have made this connection with someone who knows about me, who knows about my goals, about my dreams. And so they think about me because they care about me. And I think the most important thing for me, and like the kind of biggest pitfall that I see people fall into when it comes to making connections, is that they approach it only from this place of what's in it for me, right? They're like the way, and I do feel like that's also for like why for a lot of people network marketing feels like so icky. And I'm not talking about the network marketing of like making money kind of thing, the career path in network marketing, just networking in general. The reason why it feels so icky for most people is because we have been taught to approach it from the mindset of what's in it for me, how do I get the most out of this, where is this going to lead me, like how is this connection going to serve me in the long run. And so we've started making connections only just from the reason, or from the mindset of with the intention of, okay, this is going to be a client soon, or this is going to be a business partner soon, or this is someone I can do a podcast with, or like we have made connections from the intention of a condition. I make this condition because it will do this later for me. And that is such a inauthentic way to make connections, at least for me. I don't feel like that really feels good for me. So the way I personally approach connection making with, which feels so much less icky and not like so gross and stuff, is for me like everyone is always a friend first and then everything else if it feels aligned, if they want to, right? No one is ever obligated to work with me or to collaborate with me or do anything with me if they don't generally feel like they want to do that. And I have had a conversation with a friend who shared with me how a friend of hers basically like constantly just like makes friends, or like in conversations even like approaches conversations in a way that so that they get the most out of it, so that they can grow and like they have kind of the advantage from it. And I feel like that is how most people feel about connections these days. And I must admit I've felt this way before as well, especially online, where I feel like a lot of people, they just text me because they eventually want to sell to me, or they're just being nice because they want me to follow them and like buy from them later. And I've always tried not to curate that feeling in other people, although I know it's hard because it does very much so come from you. So if you want to not feel this way, then you have to change how you feel about this. But I do feel like the more we actually approach connection making from the place of, I just want to connect with people, I just want to make friends, I just want to help people, right? I'm not doing it to get something out of it. If we approach it from that, we can heal this weird dynamic that so many people are feeling like, okay, we're just being friends because you want something from me, basically. And that's something that I want to change. I feel like connections are very powerful because they allow us to just share about what we are passionate about. Like the other day I was sharing about this new program that I'm working on with a friend, and she was like so excited, and I wasn't like selling anything to her or expecting her to like buy it because like, I mean, it's not even, finished yet or launched or whatever, but she was so excited and she was like so supportive, and she was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And I mean, if she, once it's launched, wants to open up spaces, if she wants to join that, like she's so welcome to, but it's not a must. Like I don't obligate her, and I'm not friends with her because I hope that she one day will join that program, and I'm not gonna unfriend her because like if she doesn't, right? If she never buys from me, then that's fine too. I think that it's important with connections though, that it's a give and take, right? So that's kind of what my other friend referred to. Like if you have a connection where you constantly give and there's nothing ever coming in return, that's also not really healthy. It's not a good connection, right? There has to be like some sort of an energy exchange. And so if you have started, because I feel like that's the other concern with a lot of people, when you're like, okay, I want to make friends, I want to make connections online, and so I'm like texting with all these people and I'm giving them free advice and like listening to them, you know, asking questions, letting them share, holding space for them, but like I also have to make my money, right? I have to pay my bills. And so you're not getting money for that, but also nothing in return. That's also where then eventually we can offer them to kind of take a step further, which most of them will be likely to, because we already made such a deep and profound connection with them. So connections are powerful because they make it easier for us to sell, but not necessarily if we do it with the intention to sell in the first place, right? We want to build connections for connection's sake, for just connection, because we want to share. We also want to be held and seen and understood and supported. And so if that person can give us that also, maybe in a different way, that's fine too, right? So we want to build relationships with no intention whatsoever to sell or make money from that person. Just like you would just go out and make friends, basically. You don't do that because you expect them to buy your products or your services. You do that because you want to spend time with them, because you love socializing at some point, right? And you want to have people to go out with. And that is the intention that we need to be approaching relationship building with. And then, yes, when we get to a point of, okay, we see we're giving the entire time, just like we would in real life if we had a friend and we would constantly give the entire time, and they would never like actually ask about our lives, and we never get to actually talk about our lives. We might also say like, hey, I love giving you advice, I love listening to you, but it'd be nice as well if one day we would just talk about me and my life. And if she can't give you that, then maybe you want to spend less time with her, which is okay too, right? Because there has to be some energy exchange. And the same is online or with, you know, like in a more business context, right? We make connections because we don't like generally care about making this world a better place. And so we give, we connect, we hold space. But then if we notice that someone kind of like uses that a little bit, that good intention that we hold, we can also say like, hey, I would love to go deeper into this with you, but my time is valuable and I can't like do this for everyone that intense. So if you want, I have this amazing container that I would love to invite you into, right? And then they can say yes and they can say no. And then you see where the relationship goes, right? Or like with my friend, right? Or someone online even, you know, a connection that you've made, and they're like, you share something because you have this great connection and you want to know about each other's lives, and you say like, hey, you tell them about this amazing program that we have, and they're like so excited. And then you can also say like, hey, if you want, you can come into this, but if not, like, that's totally cool as well. I'll still hang out with you, right? So that's kind of a more healthy way to build relationships, and not like the icky, inauthentic kind of what's in it for me way that most people have in the recent years approached relationship building. So 5 hacks to build deeper connections. I wanted to also give you something tangible here that helps you, that have been kind of clues that I've received from my readings and things that I've been implementing over the last year to make my connections more powerful and more profound and more valuable for both sides, just more authentic and aligned as well. So the first hack is to genuinely care about the other person. So like I said, I don't make connections or make friends because I hope to gain something out of it other than a friend, right? So I genuinely care about the person. I genuinely care about how they're feeling, who they are, what they dream about in their lives. I really genuinely care about every single one on my Instagram. I deeply, deeply care about, and I will treat them this way, right? So if someone responds to my poll, I will respond to them. Even if they just responded because they wanted to be genuinely supportive, I will respond to them, because I genuinely care about them. I did a poll on like doing readings the other week, and I had a A woman also responded to me and she was like, I don't really know what I'm moving through. And I did the reading for her, tapped into that. Although I did ask for something specific that they were moving through, I still tapped into it. And she responded like, hey, I didn't even expect a respond because I didn't know what I was moving through. I just wanted to be supportive because I know how valuable it is when people respond to polls and stuff. I was like, yeah, thank you. And for the exact same reason, I just responded to you and you gave you a 5-minute reading because I deeply care, right? So I deeply care about the other person, not from a place of what will they give me, but what can I give to them? How can I make them a better, happier person? Make friends first and foremost. So again, like connect with people online, even in business context, because you want to make friends, not because it's a way for you to make clients, right? Make friends first, and then trust that whatever else is meant will meant. Get out of the house, right? In order to make connections, I think it's very valuable to make connections online through Instagram and threads and whatnot. But it's also very important to make connections in real life, and you never know how, people in real life might turn into clients later, or like business opportunities that will lead to expand your career, right? So get out of the house, get yourself into those yoga classes and the cacao ceremonies and the stuff. That's been such a game changer for me because it's also kind of made this all feel a little bit more real versus when we are so much online. Like, again, having connections online is great, but it sometimes feels so unreal. It feels so distant. And so when you make connections in real life, it feels just a little bit more tangible, a little bit more real. And also I feel like in person, you can make the connection way faster because someone gets your energy. Versus online, if you were to text someone, like I said, a lot of people then might still, because they have like trauma around this or negative experiences, suspect that you want to sell to them or whatever. And so they're going to be like distant and not open up so much. Versus in real life, if you meet someone on a cacao ceremony that you do together, you like both there first and foremost as a participant. And so you're both vulnerable, you both share, you both go through a similar transformation at the time. And so you can connect. And then you can see wherever this leads you guys. Be open and willing to give and share, right? So don't hold back. Again, don't try to immediately take this relationship to the next level. It's kind of like when you meet a guy and then you're like, okay, now we need to get married, and after the first date or whatever, that would be such a turn off. And obviously the same as if you meet someone, whether that's online or offline, you don't want to immediately go into okay, do you want to buy my program now? That's gross. And that's going to be such a turn off. So you actually want to get to know them first and build the connection, become friends, and then the rest will unfold naturally anyway. And then have zero expectations. I'm not pushing or forcing or obligating anyone to expand the relationship we're having, right? But they're invited to and held space for if that's what they want. They're going to be invited whenever the opportunity presents itself in a natural way, but there's no obligation, nor will they be pushed or forced into something. And the no is also not having negative consequences. Of course, very many no's, or when there's just a disbalance, of course that can have consequences. But other than that, there's no consequences if someone, doesn't want to upgrade the relationship. And that is so healthy for you because then you don't feel out of integrity with yourself or icky or something like that. And it's also going to be so healthy for the relationship because you never know when someone is ready. And you never know when someone feels the pull to expand the relationship. And so I think it's very important to just go into this with zero expectation other than you just want to connect. And then just let it unfold in the most natural way. So that has been it with today's episode. already. I hope this opened your perspective a little bit on just a different way of approaching business. Like I said, I find connections is such a powerful way, especially when done right. It can open up so many doors in business, and I highly empower you guys to just try it out, like give it a try to like build more connections in this like attached way, like I said, and just see what unfolds from that. If you want to listen to more episodes, you can go to episode 41, how to develop a winning mindset in sports and business. That's also going to be such a powerful episode for you to expand your business, keep holding your success, keep expanding your success. And then also the episode that's titled How to Balance Masculine and Feminine Energy for Business Growth. That's also a powerful episode that if you want to listen to more, you can tap into. And with that being said, screenshot this, share it, and tag me and let me know your biggest takeaway, or just share this with the world, letting everyone know that connections are such a powerful way to expand your life, your business, and build soul-led success. And then I will see you next Wednesday for another episode. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me, tuning in over and over again, and supporting the show. This means the world to me. Bye! Thank you for hanging out with me. It was a blast. If you're new here, then make sure to subscribe to the show to not miss any new episodes. And if you haven't done so, please feel free to give the show a 5-star rating. This means the absolute world to me, since it helps the show to grow and allows me to bring more incredible guests and episodes your way. With that being said, until next time,